Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for everyone who is subscribed and who has liked and shared the videos. You guys are awesome. This video is going to be about sleep paralysis, what it is, how to stop it and how to control it, and generally why it happens, and how doctors have zero useful information that they can provide about this, which is very, very frustrating. What sleep paralysis is it's the inability to move or speak. It usually occurs when either you're falling asleep or waking up, and 99.9% of the time it happens with the sense that someone is attacking you. Someone has come into your bedroom and is attacking you when you are at your most vulnerable. You can't move and you can't speak. And hundreds of people actually from all over the world have experienced this phenomenon. I am going to post a link to a video right here that will show you all over the planet how it's happened and how different cultures have come up with different theories about why it's happened and have assigned different evil entities to the experience of sleep paralysis, why they think it's happening to them. Different cultures will say, oh, it's this evil being or it's this evil being. So you can watch that video to learn more about that. However, the advice that that video gives about how to stop it is completely useless. So I'm only offering it as an interesting analysis of how it's happened all over the globe. You are being attacked when it happens. You do feel like you've been attacked when it happens. And the way your body and mind reacts to it, it's no different from how you would react to a physical attack while you're awake by a living person. But in a way, it's worse because you can't call the police. Everyone thinks it's just a dream, and nobody believes you about how bad it was. They insist it was just a dream, and there's essentially nowhere to turn for help. And doctors have posted the most useless information online, like go to bed at the same time every night and don't eat anything an hour before sleep. That is the only advice doctors will offer about how to deal with this. That is so unbelievably unhelpful and useless. So my own personal experience with this, just so you know, I know what I'm talking about. I've been dealing with this since I was a teenager. It started happening when I was about 13 years old. Most of the scary experiences have happened for me when I felt like I was being attacked by an evil entity. It happened after I visited a graveyard. If I was walking by a graveyard or going to visit a relative, a lot of the time the problem is spirits that have passed and are not ready and are filled with bitterness. Those are usually the ones that are attracted to their bodies. And those are usually the ones that linger around graveyards. So I do not like graveyards. Ghosts with unfinished business tend to hang around graveyards, so I do not like going to them because I get sleep paralysis attacks after I go. So now every time I leave a graveyard, just as I'm leaving, I'll turn around and say, any one of you bastards wants to follow me home, we're gonna have a huge problem and I will win. So don't follow me or you will regret it. And then they stopped following me after I leave and go home. I've had less problems since I started doing that. So one of the worst ones I ever had was I woke up and I saw a ghost at the edge of my bed screaming, and it looked a lot like that famous painting, The Scream or the Shriek or the Cry. And it was just this ghost that was filled with bitterness. She had been hanging around for a week. My anxiety had been spiking, and I knew something was wrong. This was one that followed me home from a graveyard. And then I woke up and I was okay. When I looked down at my cat, and my cat, who was curled up on the bed next to me, was twitching and he was having this horrible nightmare and he would not wake up. I could not wake him up. He did not wake up until I pulled him off the bed, pulled him into my arms like a baby, and gave him a ton of positive energy to sort of negate the negativity the ghost was sending. So even if you're a skeptic, do you think it's a little weird that I would be having an attack in my sleep at the exact same time the cat who was laying right next to me was having this attack? Also, I mean, I know cats have dreams and they get twitchy, but this was like 10 times more intense than any dream I've ever seen my cat have. So that happened. I woke up my baby. I was holding him. He was meowing. He was not happy. And I was like, all right, this bitch is toast. You come for my cat, I will attack your corporally challenged ass. What are these beings and why do they attack us? Just to go through this before I get to how to deal with them, I think it's important to understand what you are dealing with and who you are dealing with. So I'm going to go over who these beings are and why they attack before I discuss how to take care of them. I want you to think about all the horrible people you've ever known throughout your life. And we've all known a bunch, especially bosses. Bosses that we've had that were just horrible, that seemed to drain the energy out of the room when they came into it. And a lot of people who get into positions of power are in fact psychopaths. If you don't believe me, you can read Snakes in Suits, great book. It describes how psychopaths do rise up to these positions of power in these corporate environments and how they thrive in them and why they thrive in them. So you can read that book if you're interested in that. So if you've been around a narcissistic boss or someone that you believe is a psychopath or sociopath, sociopath, or narcissist, if you've been around any of these people, you know you feel so drained. Usually they'll verbally attack you, they'll say horrible things to you, they'll make you feel this big. They're very much energy vampires, but even when they're not doing that, sometimes just being in the room with some of these people, they call these cluster B personality types, psychopath, sociopath, malignant narcissist, you will be completely drained after you leave the room or after you are forced to spend any time with them. They are essentially energy vampires when they're alive. I was unfortunate enough to have one in my family, and that is why I based all the villains in my novel on these people, the cluster B psychopaths, sociopaths, and narcissists. I call them inadequate souls in the book. You can click here to sign up for the book's mailing list. The book is essentially, the villains in the book are these people after they pass away. What happens to these psychopaths, sociopaths, and narcissists when they die? If you've ever watched a video of somebody who's had a near-death or out-of-body experience, they always talk about this amazing, loving feeling of feeling God's love pulling them home. Okay, it's just this wonderful, positive, high vibrational, wonderful energy. Okay, when a psychopath or sociopath or malignant narcissist dies, they cannot connect to that energy. It's impossible to be that negative and that essentially evil when you're alive and connect to that energy. And that is why many of them get stuck on Earth. Now, many of them were egomaniacs in life. So the fact that after they pass over, either they cannot get to the good place, it's their own fault. It's not because heaven is not welcoming them. It's the opposite. They're supposed to go up to heaven, go to the fifth dimension, get their life reviews, figure out what they need to do to make up their karma, and grow. That's essentially what is supposed to happen. But sometimes these beings are they've done so many bad things that they're just never going to be able to connect to that wonderful, positive, vibrational energy. They can't. So in the mind of the narcissist, psychopath, or sociopath, after they die, they cannot connect to this energy. So in their mind, because they were egomaniacs when they were alive, the idea that God does not want them, that's not how it is, but that's how they're perceiving it, that just fuels their bitterness. That just makes them so bitter, the idea that they could be unwanted or unappreciated in any way because they were egomaniacs when they were alive. So they are still in death. The scene in Poltergeist, when the doctor who is there to help the family explains the other side to Robbie, explains it very well. Great movie, suggest you watch it. That scene very much sums up why certain souls get stuck here on Earth and can't move on. So they hang around, they stay on Earth, they're angry, they're jealous, they're bitter, and they were energy vampires when they were alive. So what do? They siphon energy from the living. The easiest way to make a connection with the living person is when the person is in alpha state. That is when your brain is the most receptive. That is the state that you go into naturally as you're falling asleep. So that is why they attack you. They're mean, jealous, bitter, horrible people. I want to talk about demons because a lot of people who have experienced sleep paralysis insisted they were being attacked by a demon. So I personally do not believe in demons. I think it's a big cop-out. Isn't it so much easier to say the devil made me do it, or I was possessed or overwhelmed by a demonic entity? As a human being, isn't it so much easier to say that than it is to take responsibility for your own actions? Human beings are capable of so much cruelty on their own. In fact, nothing scares me more than the capacity for human cruelty. So we need to own what we do, take responsibility for what we do, and not blame it on some other invisible entity. Saying that a devil or a demon made you do anything is a big cop-out. And it's a way of taking all the blame off of you and placing it onto somebody else. A lot of people who have drug problems do that. Oh, the devil tempted me to do the drugs. The devil made me drink. The devil made me do this. The devil made me drive drunk. It's like, no, you did that all by yourself. Be an adult and take responsibility for your actions. Wiccans generally don't believe in the devil or demons, and that's generally why is because people are capable of being so evil on their own. So if you feel like you had a demonic experience, let me ask you this. How do you know it was not a psychopath or sociopath impersonating one? I had one come, and they can look however they want to look as they're attacking you. That's the scary thing. I woke up and saw Freddy Krueger over me once, and I was just like, bitch, please. I wasn't scared at all, because I've been watching those movies since I was 12, and it's not an entity that scares me. It's just not. But they will shapeshift into anything that they think is going to scare you. So because most of our people in our society are so afraid of demons, it is a very easy form to take for these ghosts to attack you. Now, if you believe in them, leave it in the comments or start your own YouTube channel. But I personally don't, and we're just going to leave it at that. And in my opinion, psychopaths and sociopaths can be as evil as demons. I mean, these are people who enjoy hurting people, who get off on inflicting as much pain as possible and have no empathy for others. That's pretty much as evil as anyone or anything can get. The easiest way to describe how you should think about the ones that are attacking, that do attack in the night when you're sleeping. Think of them as there's two fictional characters that they are closest to. Again, Freddy Krueger and Pennywise the Clown. I know these are fictional characters, but they may have been based upon sleep paralysis. I don't know. But these beings that come attack you are very similar to these fictional characters in the sense that, one, they can shapeshift into anything you're afraid of. Two, they're after whatever you're afraid of because your fear literally feeds them. They're there to siphon your energy. And when you are terrified, that is what they want. Your fear is delicious to them. So the more fear you give them during the sleep paralysis attack, and it is a terrifying experience not to be able to speak or move or crawl out for help or do anything to push this evil being off of you. It's terrifying. I understand it's terrifying, but that's what they want. They want your fear. That's why they do it. All right, so now that we know what we're dealing with, how do you deal with it? How do you deal with these attacks? There's a couple of things you can do. One, sage your apartment. I sage my apartment. That's when you light a sage stick or loose sage. It's a great way just to get all negative entities out of your apartment or out of your home. It is a smell and an essence that pretty much negative spirits, they're very much repelled by it. They don't like it. It will temporarily cleanse your house. That's why I sage every single time I clean. After I'm done vacuuming, I sage the entire place because it's just a great way after you've cleaned, now that you've got all the dust and dirt out, get rid of any negative energy that might be around too. So get a sage stick and burn the sage. Great way as a preventative measure just to avoid any negative entities in your home. Another way to prevent is it very much helps to be aligned with a higher power. If you are connected to a god or a higher power, in that moment when you feel like you're being attacked, call upon them for help, because the higher powers, the ones that are connected to heaven and that fifth dimensional energy, are on that wonderful positive vibrational frequency that in the afterlife, and that repels the negative entities. It is poison for the negative entities. So align yourself with a higher power. Now, I did shoot a video that breaks down our pagan and Wiccan gods, and you can click here to watch it. Now, my mother-in-law has experienced sleep paralysis. And she says that many times she has called upon Jesus Christ to come help her at that moment. So whatever power you believe in, it will work for you. If you are positive, focus on things that you're grateful for, and maintain a positive mindset and feel empowered, it is harder for an entity to attach to you, because again, positivity repels them. So keeping a gratitude journal and focusing every day on what you're grateful for does keep negativity away. All right, so those are preventative methods. Now, this is probably why you clicked on this video: how to fight these beings. I'm going to talk about how to fight during the attack and how to fight after the attack. How do you fight during an attack if you can't move, you can't speak, you can't scream out for help, and your body is completely 100% paralyzed? How do you fight? Well, here's the interesting thing. Your physical body might be paralyzed, but your astral body is not. So you can still move your astral body. Now, the easiest way to do that is to transfer all of your fear into anger. Now, there are 3 basic ways that human beings react to trauma. In the moment when we're being attacked, it's fight, flight, or freeze. Fight is when we fight back. We get incredible adrenaline rushes. That's why people are able to do things like lift heavy objects or fight, and they have the physical stamina to fight back that they would not normally have. It's the adrenaline rush we get when we go into fight mode. Flight is obvious. Flight is when you just run away. You leave the situation, you get yourself as far away from the danger as possible. And freeze is when you just shut down. You channel all your energy into keeping you alive. This happens a lot during a sexual assault when rape victims are so scared that they just completely freeze and don't move, and they can't talk because they're so afraid if they say anything, they're gonna make the rapist angrier, and then the rapist is gonna do something even more horrible, like stab them. It's just easier when you're that afraid just to sort of shut down until the horrible experience is over. Now, unfortunately, freezing is misread as consent by people who don't understand that the rape victims are not allowing or letting anything to happen by freezing. It is a basic human reaction to being attacked. So what to do during a sleep paralysis attack? Fight, flight, or freeze. Obviously, flight is not an option because your body is pinned down unless you can astral project. I would not recommend astral projecting and leaving your body during this exact moment when you're being attacked, but that's a whole other video. So obviously, flight is not an option. Okay, so we've got freeze or fight, 2 other options. You can either lay there and just wait for it to end. Usually only lasts a couple of seconds up until a couple of minutes. After that, your body will start to wake up, but unfortunately, that minute or 2 can be traumatic. I would not recommend freezing. I would recommend fighting. These ghosts, these entities that attack, are very close to Freddy Krueger and Pennywise the Clown in the fact that they are feeding off of your fear. So it's very hard not to give them your fear at that moment, but the best thing you can do, the easiest emotion to transfer into fear, is anger. When you are angry, just like when you're afraid, your heart is pounding. When you are angry, just like when you're afraid, your body is releasing the same hormones as a response. The easiest emotion to transfer into is anger. That way, you're not giving the entity who is attacking you any fear. You're not feeding it if you switch into anger. So you can practice this exercise, and I recommend practicing it before you wake up in the morning. Don't do it as you're falling asleep because it'll just keep you awake. But what you can do so you're ready for the next sleep paralysis attack is I want you to imagine all of your energy in your body, in your astral body, becoming really, really tight, really, really small inside of you. And then out of the blue, just shoot it out all over your body in a million directions. What you're going to do is you're going to project your aura out as far as you can. And you can imagine your energy going out of your body in daggers and sharp weapons, kind of like porcupine quills all over your body. And that way it will penetrate the ghost, and they will not like that. You can also imagine it coming out of your body like a big fist, and pushing it off, but either way, it will push the ghost off of you. So you can practice doing that after you wake up every day, so the next time this happens, you are ready for the bastard. If someone has the nerve to break into your home, you should be mad. I don't care if they're living or dead. You do not just go into somebody else's home. Hell no. So get mad. Get really mad. How dare this person come into your home and ruin your night of sleep, try to scare the hell out of you, try to traumatize you, invade your privacy? Hell no. Shoot all your energy into your body and then spread it out. Attack the fucker back. Sorry, they don't have any right to enter your home. I don't care who they are. It's your home, it's your private space. You get really mad the next time this happens. Nobody has the right to do that to you. It can also help to mock them and make fun of them as soon as you sense them around. Like, don't you have anything better to do with your afterlife than hang out in my bedroom and wait for me to fall asleep? You really don't have anything better to do with your afterlife than that. God, that's pathetic. No wonder they don't want you in heaven. What a loser you are. Now, I would not recommend doing that to a living attacker. Don't taunt or mock a living attacker, because they can still hurt you. As soon as you wake up, this attacker, this ghost, this entity has no power over you. And so mocking them is a way of getting them off of you, because as soon as you are not afraid of them and you start to wake up, they can't hurt you anymore. So yeah, mock the hell out of them. I've gotten really good at fighting back. Like, if I sense someone in the room, or if I'm falling asleep and I sense that feeling of somebody trying to paralyze me, what I'll do is reach out and pull them closer and be like, oh good, you're here, come here, I want to fucking play with you. And I'll whip them around the room 27 times like a helicopter and throw them out of my house. So I've gotten very violent with them, but they don't come back anymore. And ever since I started getting that good at attacking back, I've had less and less attacks. I have not had an attack in probably 2 years. And I used to have them at least once a month when I was younger, before I learned how to fight back. So yeah, they will stop bothering you if they know you're someone that, oh no, don't mess with this one. So the more experience you get doing this, the easier it will become for you to do it. Now, I know I'm going to get some comments like, oh my God, I don't think it's a good idea to give a negative entity more negativity by getting angry at it. You're just adding to the negativity. Why would you suggest during a moment of attack to add more negativity? What other emotion besides anger do you think you could switch your fear into very easily? Because again, this happens in a matter of a couple of seconds to a minute. So what other emotion can you easily just switch your emotions into out of fear? Can you turn it into some sort of positive, lighthearted energy at that exact moment where you feel like someone is physically assaulting you and trying to hurt you? Can you switch into, oh, I'm going to be so positive and just give you so much positive energy? No. If a scary living person broke into your home, if you were lying in bed and heard a window break and knew somebody was breaking into your home, would you be able to pull up a positive emotion for you to deal with? No, you'd be terrified. You'd grab a weapon to defend yourself, you'd grab the phone to call the police, you'd run away, or you'd hide somewhere. Fight, flight, or freeze. So anger at that exact moment when you are being attacked, it's the easiest one to transition into out of fear for a reason. It is there so you can protect yourself. Now the next day, that is the time to be positive. That is the time to sage your home, holy water your home, do whatever you need to remove negative energy out, and you want to do that by being positive. A simple spell that I use to remove negative entities from my home, all you need is a piece of parchment paper and some peony, dried peony. It is a great herb for banishment. If you do not have access to it, you can find another herb for banishment or exorcism. What I'll do is I'll call upon the Lord and Lady, which is divine feminine and divine masculine, pagan, Wiccan, god and goddess, and I'll say, hey, this spirit is hanging around earth attacking people. You need to deal with this. Give it up to a higher power. It's not your responsibility. It's theirs. Personally, I don't think God should allow these beings to just wreak havoc on the living anyway, so leave it up to them. They should deal with it. So write the ghost who attacked me on the piece of paper, the peony inside of the paper, roll it up, hold it in your hand, visualize the attack, the whole experience from start to end, every aspect of it, put it into the paper. And then say that this ghost is banished not only from your home, but from the planet, and they're not allowed to attack anyone else. And then ask the higher power to take the ghost to the other side so they can deal with whatever karma they have. And then burn the paper with the peony inside of it, and then immediately flush the paper and the peony that's now burnt to a crisp down the toilet, or dump it outside somewhere away from your property. So if you've had this experience, 1, I'm sorry. 2, I hope this helped. 2, I hope it was more helpful than all the other videos out there that are just like, oh, well, you know, go to bed at the same time every night and that'll keep your sleep paralysis attackers away. Oh, so frustrating. So that's why I made this, because there is no other video that is helpful, in my opinion, about this. So leave it in the comments if this has happened to you. Also, if you have any other way of fighting back or preventing, leave it in the comments for other people to see. Thank you so much for watching. Wishing you all blissful, interrupted sleep. Thank you for watching. Blessed be.